Hi guys, this is Pete and this is my United point of view on Manchester United's 2-1 win in the derby. Get in, Reds! Obviously it's a big thing to beat your rivals and to also put ourselves hopefully in a title race, so something I'm really pleased about. Before we jump into this match preview, we're going to just have a word from our sponsors. Today's video is sponsored by the guys over at Ball Tactics. Check out their website for match previews and reviews with some tongue-in-cheek humour and a great insight into the game. Check out the stuff, guys. Some really funny stuff going out, especially a few digs at City after us beating them. Check it out. So, in today's match preview, we're going to have my thoughts on the game, man of the match poll, also a little poll I put out there asking whether we're actually in this title race, and then we'll do player ratings quick. So my thoughts on the game. Obviously, it was a great game for United. Obviously, we didn't play the football that Ten Hag really wants to play. I think, obviously, with them having 70% possession, obviously, realistically, Ten Hag's a manager that likes his team to have more of the ball, but obviously against City, that's very difficult to do. So we decided to set up very organised and a little bit pragmatic to obviously combat the way City play football, and we did that really well. The team was super organised. Ten Hag seemed to have got everything right. Obviously, starting Martial up front was a bit of a risk, and obviously it was a risk that wholly didn't pay off, with him obviously being took off after 45 minutes, suspectedly injured again. But obviously we've got to give Ten Hag that bit of leeway. Obviously, first half we had the better of the chances. Could have easily been 2-0 up if Rashford had maybe took his time a little bit more when Ederson came out, and then obviously his touch didn't let him down on the second chance. I thought, obviously, even though we didn't have possession, we did control the way the game was being played. We limited City to only one chance, which was the goal, which is obviously a great thing. City haven't been at the best lately, and United took full advantage of that, and obviously we won the game. That's all you can ask for. Now, obviously, second half, the first 15 minutes, I think we let the game get away from us a little bit. Fred was magnificent first half, but then I think for the first 15 minutes of the second half, he was a little bit sloppy, and that's where the goal came from, with him letting De Bruyne get away from him. And obviously a good cross from De Bruyne, and Captain Calf headed it in. So obviously that's then 1-0 to City. Then Ten Hag started making the changes. So obviously he brought Anthony on at half time, which moved obviously Fernandes over in the pitch. But then obviously we brought Garnacho on. Garnacho changed the game for United. His directness and the way he runs at people really did change the game. Obviously, the first goal massively helped. Just before the first goal, Wan-Bissaka got the crowd going a little bit. He kept the ball, jinked in between a couple of people, did really well to keep over the ball, and I think that lifted the crowd, which then lifted the team. Obviously, we then got the, shall we say, controversial goal. For me, you have to play to the whistle. The goal should stand. Rashford didn't touch the ball, and the more I look at it, I don't think he had a massive effect on the City players. But obviously, if I was a City fan, I would be upset, but I'm not. So it's nice to see United get a decision for once. Then I'm just trying to think. Then the second goal obviously was great work by Garnacho, and Rashford kept himself onside and gets the goal. Obviously, great performance. You've got to give Ten Hag credit and the team credit. Obviously, we're showing a fighting spirit now under Ten Hag that no matter what, we can win games. And it's a great thing to see. Obviously, City are a tough team and we've beat them. Up next, we've got Palace. If we beat them and then go on to beat Arsenal, we are in a title race. That's just what it looks like to me. Now, I'm going to go into the man of the match poll that I did, and then the other poll that I did about us being title challengers. So, the man of the match poll, the four candidates that I put out there were Malacia, Shaw, Fernandes and Rashford. This poll got 62 votes, and I also got quite a lot of comments as well. So, in 4th place, with 8% of the vote, was Malacia. Thought he had a really good game. He kept Mahrez super quiet. I think a lot more people, you could have really put anyone in this man of the match poll other than Martial and De Gea, I'd say. I think everyone else played superbly. Malacia got 8% of the vote. Like I said, kept Mahrez really quiet. Had a really good solid game. Then in 3rd place, with 24% of the vote, was Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw, to be honest, was really in my fingers man of the match. It was between him and Rashford for me. I think he was superb. You know, obviously centre back's not his normal position, and he played great. He kept Haaland quiet. Obviously, his partnership with Varane went really well, and he kept Haaland really quiet. Barely gave him a kick of the ball. I think he had one shot which was blocked by Casemiro. Other than that, I don't remember him really touching the ball so much. Obviously, near the end of the game, Haaland had that penalty shout, but it was never a penalty. He booted Casemiro's foot, not the other way around. And I think, obviously, Shaw did a great job of keeping him quiet. Then, in 2nd place, with 29% of the vote, is Bruno Fernandes. Obviously scored a goal, played in 3 different positions in the game. Gave us a lot of creativity, and I love his leadership. Obviously, when the first goal scored and the lino put his offside flag up, Fernandes was straight over there telling him why it should be a goal, proper getting in his face and telling him how it is, and in the end the goal was given. Now, the man of the match was Marcus Rashford, 39%. For me, kind of the obvious man of the match. You could have an argument for Shaw, maybe Fred, maybe Fernandes, maybe Malacia, but I think scoring the 2 goals, you have to give it to Rashford. Obviously, it was a game where I was a little bit worried because I thought he was going to go off when he went down with that hip injury in the first half. But he came out in the second half and he put on a performance. He's in great form. His goal was superb, and obviously his intelligence to leave the ball alone for Fernandes to score was also superb. And overall, I think United got the result that we deserved. Now, I got quite a lot of comments on this poll, so I'm going to read those out. So, the first comment was from @Martinez SZN, and he just said, Fred, man of the match. Obviously, like I said, I feel like I could have put many different people in. Now, the next comment was from @SAF_football, and he said, game was a bit dead for a while, in my opinion. When we got going in the second half, we looked so clinical, and I feel like that was missing for so long. So happy to see it finally. Ten Hag is truly lifting us to the next level again, where we deserve to be. Obviously, it is nice to see us playing well and hopefully getting back to the top, but obviously we'll have to see how that goes through the season. Obviously, new owners had helped that massively. And so then the next tweet was from @Man United signed someone, and they said, a lot of huge performances, tough to pick. I do agree with that. Obviously, that's why it was a little bit tough for me to leave people out, but I had to pick 4. Then the next one was from @Mr. Craigmore1, and he said, tough to pick, but I'm going to go for Shaw. He was a rock at the back alongside Varane. Very calm, very composed, kept Haaland quiet. I totally agree with that. Then the next one was from @Michael45862790, and he said, right result, great performance. Now on to Palace next Wednesday for another 3 points. And that's what obviously I hope happens. It'll be nice to see how we go out against Palace. Obviously, you've got things like Casemiro on 4 yellow cards. Does Ten Hag start him? I'm going to go into that when I do my match preview. And obviously, does Weghorst start? But again, we'll discuss that in my match preview that I'm going to record tomorrow. And then the next tweet was from @FlexibleAnthony, and he said, Bruno for me. And then the next tweet was from @Iomide11434442, and he said, Fred. Obviously, Fred did put in a very good performance, but like I said, just for me, the other 4 squeaked it for man of the match. Then the next tweet was from at Paddy MO4, and he said, maybe a minority, but if you take everything into consideration, Aaron Wan-Bissaka was my man of the match. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka did put in a great performance as well. We'll go into that in the match ratings. And then at LM10 is GOAT10. Obviously, I think he's on about Messi, but obviously that's not true because CR7 is, but we'll leave that as it is. Said, Wan-Bissaka, I don't know what Shaw did. I'm a bit surprised at that comment. I thought Shaw was superb. For me, it was a toss-up between him and Rashford for man of the match, but, you know, we all have our different opinions. So now, guys, we're just going to go quickly into the next poll. Our Man United Series title challengers. This poll actually did really well. It's the most votes I've ever got on a poll. I got 241. The 4 answers I put out there was not a chance, slim chance, of course, and it's a certainty. Obviously, this is just all opinion. It's a certainty was 4th place, got 8%. Obviously, 8% of those people are very confident. I am very confident. I think we have a really good chance of being in a title race and possibly winning the title if we keep this up. We beat Arsenal, beat Palace, beat Arsenal, and we go from there and take it game by game, like Ten Hag keeps saying. So then, not a chance, got 12%, so that's in 3rd place. Obviously, not everyone on my page is a United fan, and I assume that a few of those voted it, and obviously a few of our fans just want to say not a chance to kind of take off the expectation, which I do understand. Then, of course, was 2nd with 24%. You know, still a lot of people fairly confident, at least, that we are definitely in that title race, that we can make a difference, that we possibly could win the title. And then the winner of this vote was slim chance, 56%. Obviously saying that if we keep it up, there is a slim chance of us getting there, but maybe we should be considering, you know, just concentrating on the top 4, getting to a cup final. Someone has said that actually in the comments that I'm going to read out, which I think we should be concentrating game by game, but like allowing ourselves to dream too. So I got a few comments on this. So the first comment was from at @bald_tactics, who's obviously our sponsor. Check them out on Twitter, guys. Putting out some really good stuff, some funny stuff out there, and he loves a good debate about United. So he said, slim chance, in my opinion. City have spent months chasing Arsenal and made little progress. Gunners have still only lost 1 game, which is true, but they lost that against us, and obviously I hope that they'll lose the 2nd game against us, and then some teams can, you know, snatch a few draws from them. Maybe City can beat them, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, I was disappointed with the Tottenham game yesterday. I was pinning on Tottenham getting a result on them in the North London derby. Then the next comment was from at Mr. Craigmore1, and he said, if we beat Palace and Arsenal, we'll be in the race, but we won't win the title. Obviously, a little bit pessimistic, but I do understand why people are thinking a little bit like that. They maybe think we don't have enough. There could be a problem with squad depth if we get a few injuries, but we'll have to see. And then the next tweet was from UAGMVMT, which I think is the United Against Glazers movement. And she said, don't want to put that pressure on them. They're on the right track, so if we win it, that's a bonus in Erik Ten Hag's first season, which obviously I think that's the way to be. Like, you know, if we win it, great. But obviously we're not putting that pressure on Ten Hag. We want top 4. We kind of are expecting top 4 now with the way that we're playing, but we just have to see what happens. Then the next comment was from @Flexible Anthony, and he said, no, we aren't. We shouldn't forget our main objective. Get top 4 and a cup final at least. Anything more is overachieving. I do agree with that. If we win the title, it is a bit of an overachievement, but I don't want to put anything past Ten Hag because he's showing us what a great manager he is, and we just have to see. Then the next tweet, a lot more confidence in this tweet, is from @SamuelOdaba76. I do love the confidence of this tweet. We're serious title contenders, 100%. Believe because we're beating Palace and Arsenal. Screenshot this comment and thank me later. I will do that. Obviously, I do screenshot all the comments that go in all my videos, but I will save that screenshot and bring it up at the end of the season if we do win the title. I love the confidence, Samuel. And then the last one is from @Martinez SZN, and he said, "Slim chance. Only issue I have is our squad depth, and we know that we won't change this window. If we're lucky with injuries, I think we might have a chance." That's, I'm happy with that kind of thought path. Just if we don't get the injuries and we keep on playing the way we will, there is a chance we could win the title, but we don't want to put that pressure on. I really respect all your guys' opinions, and I thank you for all the comments on both polls, and obviously from all the votes. It's massive for me, so thank you. Then, now we're going to go on to the player ratings quick. I don't think many people are going to score badly in this. Obviously, the first player we're going to give a score to is De Gea. I think for De Gea, I'm going to go for 6.57. His distribution was a little bit off, and he didn't really have much to do. But I think it's a difficult thing in this game for your distribution to be good with the way that City press. You had to hit a lot of long balls, and when you come to long balls, it's all chance. You lump it up and up your centre forward, and other players, can win those challenges, and we didn't win them often. So we did win a few second balls off his goal kicks, but a lot of the time his distribution was just, he had to hoof it long, and it is 50-50 then. He had no chance for the goal, and he didn't have much else to do. That's all 6.57. I don't want to really score too many people down on this. Then right back, Wan-Bissaka. Superb performance, gets an 8. His improvement on the ball has actually been massive. I think he's going to give Dalot a run for his money to keep hold of his place. I still think Dalot is first choice, but Wan-Bissaka is staking his case. And now I hope he doesn't go in January. I hope he stays for the rest of the season. It's good competition for Dalot when Wan-Bissaka's in this form. So yeah, he gets an 8 for me. Then we move on to Varane at right centre-back. Varane, also an 8. Just a very steady, self-assured performance. Helped keep City quiet. And a lot of what Varane does is vocal work, and in organising the defence and the midfield. He's a real leader on the pitch, and it's great to have a leader back there. We've not had one back there really since Vidic and Ferdinand, so it's great to see us having a player back there like that. Then we move on to Luke Shaw, who for me gets a 9. He was a very close contender for man of the match. I think he was superb. Haaland was in his pocket. Don't remember Haaland really having much of a kick. Obviously one shot that was blocked by Casemiro, but I think that Shaw was superb. Definitely deserves a 9. Then we'll move to Malaysia, 8.5. Malaysia also had a great game, kept Mahrez quiet, which is no easy feat. Mahrez has been in good form lately, one of the best wingers in the league, and barely had a sniff. Obviously the goal did come from that side, but it was from an inside run which Fred should have covered. So yeah, he gets an 8.5. Then we move into midfield. I'm going to give Casemiro an 8. I think Casemiro had a good game. Obviously got the assist for the controversial goal. Was very good at breaking up the play. His passing was a little bit off compared to what I've seen so far, but still he was very good. And I don't want to diss him too much. He had a good game, and that's all you can ask for. Then we move on to Fred. Fred also gets an 8. A lot of people have said he should be man of the match. He really did a job on De Bruyne. It was like Ji-sung Park on bleeding, Pirlo, and also like what Herrera did to bleeding, Eden Hazard. It was a proper good man marking job. Obviously the only negative criticism is that one time that De Bruyne got away, managed to put the ball on, put the ball in, and they scored a goal. But after that, he really got his head back in the game and played well. Then we move on to Eriksen. Eriksen, I'm going to give a 7. Maybe it wasn't the game for Eriksen. He works hard off the ball. He does try. And a lot of the stuff in the first half was made by Eriksen. But I just don't think this is the right game for him. I think he should be playing in games where we need to break teams down, that we're going to control a lot of possession. I think in this game, he just didn't do quite enough, but he still had a good enough performance, gets a 7. Then we move on. First, Fernandez played on the right, obviously, and then he moved inside. Moved up front, moved inside. He played in 3 different positions. But I think he had a good game, obviously scored the goal. And he helped us on the break. He was very passionate. He pressed hard. He did what Fernandez does. And he takes risks, and you've got to respect that. So, for me, 8.5. Because he's in my 8.5. He's in my man of match poll. I've got to give him an 8.5. Then we move over to the left-hand side, but then obviously moved into striker. Also moved to the right, I believe, at some point. Rashford, for me, man of the match, 10. Superb performance. Was worried when he went down injured, but then came back to score a goal. Obviously, not technically assist, but was intelligent enough to leave that ball alone. Put in a great performance. Had quite a few chances to score more, and I just enjoyed his performance, and the way he's playing lately is just so much better than he has been, and I'm really happy with him. So yeah, Rashford man of the match, 10. Martial next. Martial 5.5, 6. Not a great performance. Obviously still carrying an injury. Just looked a little bit lazy and lethargic. I don't want to give him too much criticism, but I think now Weghorst might come in to start the next game, give Martial a break, and hopefully Martial can find his shooting boots and find his best form, because I do want to see him do well in the United shirt. I am one of the few United fans, I think, that still has a lot of faith in Martial, that he can score goals for us and play well. Now we move on to the subs. Obviously Anthony, I'm going to give a 7. Didn't really do so much going forward, but his defensive work from that right wing position is superb. He tracks back, he presses, he does a lot of work off the ball, so he gets a 7. Then Garnacho came on. Garnacho came on at the 72nd minute, and I'm going to give him an 8 as well. I actually thought he changed the game for us. His direct running, his tenacity, he's just a very good impact sub at the moment. Obviously, I think he's going to be great as a starter for us eventually as we get into it, but he was great as an impact sub again, and he just brings us something. I think, if he stays, signs a new contract, and carries on developing, this guy could become a club legend. He's that good. So next we go, who was the next couple of subs? I think, to be honest, the other 3 subs we made near the end, McTominay, McSnail, Martinez. Obviously, I think I'm just going to give them all steady 6s. Don't think they had too much to do. They cleared a few balls out of our box near the end. Martinez showed a bit of composure with a few things, and McTominay brought us a little bit of energy, and McSnail wasn't that bad. So I'll give them all 6s. Well, that's it. So yeah, that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Obviously, I apologise. It's now Monday, and obviously the game was on Saturday, but it's the first time I've had time to do videos. Now the kids are in school. So obviously, I know it's a little bit late, but thanks for tuning in. Obviously, do me a favour, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm getting closer and closer to that 50 subscribers. I need to start doing lives. So if you're new to the channel, click that button. Do me a massive favour. Subscribe to the channel, get me to that 50, so then I can involve you guys instead of obviously doing everything through Twitter, which I do really appreciate, to all those guys on Twitter who are putting into my content. So thanks so much for that, guys. Cheers. The match preview for Palace I'm going to record tonight and post tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that, guys. Switch that notification bell on if you're liking the stuff I'm putting out there. I am trying to get better. Obviously, the lighting's a bit poor on this video. It's very bright. I've tried to block it out with the curtains, but it's a bit bright. It's bouncing off my green screen, so it might distort me a little bit when I do the effect on the screen. But so I apologise that. But thanks for watching, and obviously see you on the next one. Peace, guys. Thank you.